Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan, and today I am back for more Ren with my pad and my pen. So like and subscribe and stay sat till the end because we are just beginning. And my mind has just been blown yet again. As many of you already know, I just reacted to the tale of Jenny and Screech. It's the craziest piece of art I've seen in a very, very long time. And it left me in a state of complete disbelief and shock. And there's a term that I learned recently called Stendhal syndrome. I'm going to look it up and get a definition for you all. Stendhal syndrome is a real psychosomatic condition where individuals experience rapid heartbeat, fainting, confusion, and hallucinations when exposed to art or phenomena of great beauty. I'm going to apply this syndrome to being exposed to art or phenomena that is too real. Because the tale of Jenny and Screech was simply too real. It was one of the realest things I've ever witnessed and experienced. And the craziest storytelling and rapping and singing and guitar playing and connecting and plot twisting. So go check that out if you haven't already. Today, everybody, I'm here to get a deeper look into who Ren is and learn more about his health struggles. Many of you wrote in and recommended that I check out his Chapters series. And you told me that they would explain and show me the true brunt of his pain and struggles throughout the years. But you gave me a warning. You said it's very emotional and difficult to watch at times. So I think I'm prepared. If I have to pause and stop, I will do so. If you all have to pause and stop out there, please do so. We're here for each other. I'm just going to read one quick comment before I hop in. Shelly Lauritsen wrote in and said, to get a deeper look into who Ren is, you can watch his 8 chapters. Be aware that it is a rough and emotional watch. You're absolutely a renegade. I look forward to watching more of your stuff. Shelly, thank you so much. And I am embodying the title of Renegade, especially after the tale of Jenny and Screech. I'm all the way in. So thank you, Shelly. And thank all of you for continuing to follow my journey and commenting in and recommending things and tailoring my journey depending on what gets me going. You all are the best. And I'm loving hearing a lot of your stories out there. And regarding your stories, man, there's so many of them. And I'm going to be reading a lot of your comments as we go along. So keep writing in. Okay. So my viewer Wes VWX already made me aware that in the chapters, Ren includes a song at the very end of each of them. And there's 8 in total. And it culminates into the song Troubles, which you all told me is another song that you think I'm going to love. So let's get this thing started, everybody. This is Ren, Chapter 1. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is the first time I've done something like this before. I wanted to write it down because there's a lot and I didn't want to miss anything. And some parts of this might be a little bit uncomfortable to listen to, but I wanted to stay as true as possible to the story, not miss anything, for the sake of people who might be going through something similar, or for the sake of people who don't but want to help understand a little bit more. Yeah. I promise that everything in this story is 100% true. Nothing is exaggerated for dramatic effect. Some names I don't mention and some details I don't go too far into or downplay them for the sake of the people around me. Timelines might occasionally be a little bit off, but that's just because I've had to write everything from memory from a time that was quite hazy. I asked before embarking on this journey with me that you all respect the privacy of myself and the people around me. You might be compelled to reach out to some of the people that I mention, cast judgment, praise them, criticize them, and I ask you kindly not to. It's my choice to be in the public eye, and it's mine alone. This is the first time my story is on the public record in a concise way. Being in the public eye is strange. The more that I give to you, the less that I get to keep for myself. I don't find the experience of sharing particularly enjoyable. I don't so much like the questions that follow. And I'm not a medical expert, so I don't like to be seen as somebody with all the answers, because I don't have them. And because of the empathy that I feel, I'm compelled to try and help as many people as possible. But the last time I opened myself up to this on a one-on-one basis, I was surrounded by a lot of death. And there simply weren't enough hours in the day. So I ask you, if you need support, please reach out to a professional or use my music as your companion.
Yeah.
I share my story in hopes that somebody who needs it finds it, that it provides hope, that it might ease the suffering for the people like me. I like my solitude, so I ask that anyone who respects the work I make and respects my contribution to the world to respect my solitude. A lot happened in my teenage years, and I didn't live the most normal of lives, but I'll save that story for another time. The important thing to contextualize this story is that I was full of life. I was full of a burning desire to change the world. The flaws in how we interact seemed obvious to me. I believed in people's power to change the unnecessary suffering we inflict upon ourselves. I was also enamored with music. Music is the closest thing to God that I have.
Oh.
It's a gateway to the unexplainable, and it's a way of communicating the inexpressible.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna be doing some pausing today.
Gateway to I was also enamored
with
music. Music is the closest.
He says music is the closest thing to God that I have.
God that I have. It's a gateway.
It's a gateway to the unexplainable. Is this Ren playing the trombone? Whew.
Unexplainable, and it's a way of
communicating the inexpressible. It's a gateway to the unexplainable and a way of communicating the inexpressible. Again, when this guy talks, he inadvertently spits, aka raps. A gateway of expressing the unexplainable.
Music is the closest thing to God that I have. It's a gateway to the
unexplainable.
And it's a way of
communicating the inexpressible.
Communicating the inexpressible.
Spot on.
There's just one moment I want to share with you from the years before I got sick. I was 17 and I felt indestructible.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure why, but my whole life I had this feeling inside myself that I was meant to do something important, not for myself, not for praise, not for personal gain, but something that would change the world for the better. It's hard to describe it without coming across like an egomaniac or having some sort of God complex, but I felt like I had some sort of divine purpose. And I remember feeling this so strongly that one afternoon after school, I stood in the center of my bedroom and I spoke loud into an empty void. I said that I would single-handedly take on and defeat the forces of evil, and I welcomed them to try their best. Throughout the years, that memory stuck with me, taunting me sometimes. Flash forward to 2019. I remember the first day I knew something was wrong very well. I woke up in an unfamiliar room in Cardiff, feeling like a raven had perched itself upon my heart. Every time my heart beat, it's like some part of me was aware of the foreboding death sentence that was to come. Some sort of primal instinctive dread. Everything felt wrong, and I felt prosthetic, like I could tear my own skin off and observe though I was watching passively from another room. The night before, I'd been in Cardiff visiting friends in university. It was the end of summer, we'd gone out to a few bars. I wasn't really enjoying myself. That year I'd been struggling with social anxiety, perhaps from years of abusing my brain with a whole pick and mix and selection of party drugs. Engaging with society felt like stepping into the ring with a heavyweight champion. Every single fucking question felt like an oncoming haymaker I had to socially navigate because of my very limited toolkit of charisma at the time. I don't know why I cared about being liked so much, but the more I cared, the less equipped I became to have a simple human conversation. I used to deal with this by getting fucking hammered. That night was no exception. I got smashed, lost my phone, and woke up in a strange apartment. In the bed opposite mine was a snoring rugby player and his girlfriend.
Oh shoot.
Everything just seemed off, and it wasn't a hangover. My first thought was I'd been spiked. I quietly gathered all my belongings and left before anyone could wake up and punch me with a conversation. I wandered around the grey Cardiff in the haze, feeling like I've just been rigged up to an IV bag full of ketamine and cyanide.
Damn.
And the whole world just seemed off, like I was looking at it through a tunnel. A heavy feeling of fear clung around me like a straitjacket. The only comforting thought was that with enough time, rest and water, it would pass. but it didn't. For 8 long years, it didn't.
God.
And this is my story of an 8-year-long nightmare. I returned back to my dad's home. He was living...
I'm just going to pause right there real quick. Oh, he just set the scene. He just set the scene. This is the tale of Ren Gill, everybody.
A long nightmare. I returned back to my dad's home. He was living with his partner at the time. It wasn't my home, so I already felt uncomfortable and out of place. These unusual symptoms persisted. I figured I'd caught some sort of virus and I'd get better with time. But by the end of the week, things were a lot worse. I took myself to the doctor and he said he thought it sounded viral, that if I went home and got enough rest, it would eventually pass. And it didn't. For 8 years, it didn't. I returned for my second year of university. My brain was full of fog and my body felt poisoned. There were intermittent days where I felt like a hollow suit of skin. I'd sit in lectures unable to focus and was devoid of any sort of personality. I'd be able to have basic conversations, yeses and nos, but I was stripped of the ability to think spontaneously. It's like my body was taking up so much processing power being sick that I could not have original or spontaneous thought.
Yeah.
The most peculiar thing about this was there was a me that was aware that this was all happening and was observing it from outside of myself, locked out, screaming silently, banging on the walls of my mind to be let in, and never successfully. And nonetheless, there I was, like a ghost haunting myself. My usual routine was getting home, running a shower and curling up into a ball to cry underneath the running water, not understanding what was going on. I brought myself to the doctors numerous times during this period, requesting every blood test they'd let me have, often being dismissed and told things like stress from university can cause strange symptoms. But how come no one I knew in university could relate to this? Eventually I was put on a 6-month-long waiting list to see a mental health specialist who did a short 1-page questionnaire and wrongly diagnosed me as hypercycling bipolar and put me on a course of citalopram.
So that's the first wrong diagnosis, right?
And wrongly diagnosed.
Okay.
But how come no one I knew in university could relate to this? Eventually I was put on a 6-month-long waiting list to see a...
He was put on a 6-month-long waiting list. Think about that. To see a mental health specialist. 6 months.
Health specialist who did a short
1-page questionnaire.
And wrongly diagnosed me.
And wrongly diagnosed me as hypercycling bipolar. 1 page. That's what led to this diagnosis. This wrong diagnosis.
Hypercycling bipolar and put me on a course of citalopram.
And then what comes from this wrong diagnosis is citalopram. I've never heard of this one before, but it sounds to me like Ren doesn't need it. So then this, I would imagine, comes with its own set of side effects and interacts with Ren's body in a certain way that causes more pain and doesn't treat the issue. This is crazy.
After a few weeks, it stole my ability to sleep.
There you go.
I was told to stick it out and it would level out and eventually I'd feel more like myself. I stuck it out and I got worse and I pulled myself off it after 2 weeks in a row of sleepless nights and insomnia. There's something pretty peculiar about being told you're in some sort of spectrum of madness. Even if you suspect that you're mad, your diagnosis finds a way to claw itself into your identity even if it doesn't belong to you.
Hold up. Hey.
You're mad. Your
diagnosis finds a way to claw itself into your identity.
Finds a way to claw itself into your identity even if it doesn't
belong to you. When you are labeled with anything, especially a diagnosis, that is exactly right. It finds a way to claw itself into your identity, even if it doesn't belong to you. You start to treat yourself differently because you think you have this or you're this. And God forbid you let other people know. And then they start treating you differently, especially when it comes to the term bipolar, right? People see that a certain way. He is spot on with that.
To you. Ever since I was a child, I'd always be asking what and why and how things worked. I couldn't really accept things as they were without knowing how. I carried into my adult years, and so as the bipolar hammer crashed and sentenced itself into my reality, I began searching online for behaviors associated with it, people's first-hand experiences, what it felt like to be manic. In these earlier days of my illness, the symptoms would fluctuate in severity day by day. Some days I'd be in a thick, tired fog, and other days they'd be more merciful. I began to associate the days of not suffering as mania and would act more erratically on the days that my symptoms were less bothersome. I did things like climbing out of windows of a 6-story student accommodation or get so drunk I'd wake up outside of the university campus lawn. But it wasn't mania. I just wasn't hurting.
Oh.
I spent one day a week with my therapist, who was teaching me cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
The issue was mentally reframing unexplainable symptoms caused a lot of cognitive dissonance for me. I was told my anxiety or depression was causing my symptoms,
Yeah.
but in reality it was my symptoms which were making me anxious and depressed.
That's it right there. That's what Sick Boy is about. The song. That statement right there, everybody. I was told my anxiety or depression
Or depression was causing my symptoms,
was causing my symptoms.
but in reality it was my symptoms.
But in reality, it was my symptoms which were making me anxious and depressed. That's why he was so adamant with the doctor in the music video for Sick Boy. Right? He was so like up in her face to try to let her know this. It's not my mind that's making me sick. It's my symptoms. It's the world.
Which were making me anxious and depressed. So I was in some sort of inescapable bind. I'd devotedly work on my mental health, following every new tool for coping to the letter, only to have my symptoms get worse, which made me frustrated, raise the intensity of my treatment, only to get even more frustrated as my body seemed to deteriorate. After 6 months, I told my mum I'd happily saw off my own leg with a blunt knife if it meant my symptoms would vanish, and I meant it. I told her if I had to live with this strange feeling for 1 more year, I'd kill myself. And I meant that too. But something happened that winter which showed me firsthand the horrors and the fallout from suicide. I met Joe when I was 9 years old. I remember the first time clearly. I was standing in his living room when he turned to me and he was like, "Watch this." Then he proceeded to climb on top of his sofa and did a front flip onto a stone living room floor. He landed on his back and lay motionless for a few seconds before grinning, getting up, and then doing it all over again. We grew up terrorising the streets of the small village we grew up in, playing knock door run or breaking into people's gardens to play on their trampolines. We stayed friends throughout high school, going through various phases together. Joe was comedian of the group. I remember countless mornings after messy all-nighters, Joe would be cracking endless jokes like a professional stand-up routine, and we'd all be in tears laughing. When I started writing my first songs, Joe and Sega were the first people who always knew every word, and they would sing along at the top of their lungs. They gave me a lot of self-belief, and they helped me build the foundation of what I do today, and I owe them a lot for that. That Christmas, I came back home to Wales from university. On Christmas Eve, me and Joe were sat in a pub, and he turned to me, and he told me that he'd fantasized about walking into the sea until he was totally submerged. He had a pretty morbid sense of humour, so I didn't really take him as seriously as I should have. 2 days later, it's 3 a.m, and I get a phone call. It's my friend Ella. She tells me that Joe is on the bridge by my house. He was drunk, he'd called her up, and he told her he was going to jump. I was still half asleep. I fumbled, pulling on whatever clothes I could that were near, and I walked out of the front door, and the winter air stung my face, and it woke me up. Adrenaline kicked in, and I started sprinting towards the bridge. It was about a 5-minute walk, a 2.5-minute sprint. As I was running, I dialed Joe's number, and I get a busy tone, and I felt relief, because it meant he was still alive. I kept hitting redial as I ran, and as I got about halfway to the bridge, the busy tone changes. I get an automated voice note saying the number's out of service, and my heart sunk. I got to the suspension bridge that connects Anglesey to the mainland, and it usually looks very beautiful. I sprint up and down the bridge yelling Joe's name, and silence, and it's deafening. And I peer over the bridge into the blackness, and the bridge sits about 100 feet above the water. Hitting cold water at that height is like smashing into concrete. And the waters are notoriously dangerous because of the cross current. I hear nothing, no sounds, nothing. I run up and down the bridge about 2 times before I spot a figure at the end of it, and my heart jumps into my throat, and I run towards the figure, and it's my friend Ricky who's had the same call, and we both run around up and down the bridge and around the surrounding area looking for Joe. More of his friends eventually arrive, and there's nothing. I was about a minute too late. We spent the next week walking up and down beaches with flashlights. And when it's that dark, every other large rock starts to look like a washed up body. We plastered all the neighbouring towns in missing posters, contacting whoever we could, someone who might know something. We checked bank records to see if any money had been withdrawn since he went missing. There was CCTV footage of him walking onto the bridge, but there wasn't any of him coming off. But there were dead zones in the footage, so there was still a small chance he could be alive. I was sleeping about 3 hours a night, pretty determined that we'd still find him. For about 10 days we had nothing, and then suddenly a call comes through while we're all at my friend Miles's house having food. It's the police. A body had been found in the water by the bridge. We piled into my friend's car. I remember being in the back seat in floods of tears, repetitively punching the back of the passenger seat as we drove to the scene. As we pull up, I saw a lifeless body being zipped up into a green bag near a parked ambulance. Its skin was bloated by the seawater, and it wasn't Joe.
It wasn't
Someone
Joe.
else decided to jump that day.
Oh my God.
Joe was never found.
Oh my God.
It's difficult to truly let go when you can't say goodbye.
Oh my God.
For months following, I held on to this
I'm
fantasy
gonna
that we get a
pause
call.
I'm gonna pause real quick. Hold up. Joe was never found. It's difficult to truly let go when you can't say goodbye. I'll talk more on that at the end.
Truly let go when you can't say goodbye. For months following, I held on to this fantasy that we'd get a call that he'd run away to some European town and he was happy and he was healthy. But that call never came. The time during his inquest was also around the time I was struggling with the side effects of a new antidepressant. I remember sitting in the courtroom feeling like I was listening to the whole thing deep underwater. The judge felt the circumstances surrounding Joe's death didn't mean The judge felt that the circumstances surrounding Joe's death meant that the verdict was left open.
I love that he kept that in.
It kind of stung even more to not have an official ruling of suicide.
I love that he kept that in so much, man.
Listening to the whole thing deep underwater. The judge felt the circumstances surrounding Joe's death didn't mean The judge felt that the circumstances surrounding Joe's death meant that the verdict was left open. It kind of stung even more to not have an official ruling of suicide.
Yeah.
I remember going to visit his mum not long after and witnessing the aftermath of a mother grieving for her baby boy.
Yeah.
The silence of his father, the tears of his mother. I decided that day that I'd have to wait until my illness killed me because I couldn't do it by choice. I couldn't put my family through that. Over the next 10 years, I returned to my hometown, only a handful of times following Joe's death. My last visit was in the summer of last year. I reconnected with Joe's parents and showed them a song that I'd written, simply entitled For Joe.
For Joe.
We cried together, reminisced together, joked, and I'm proud to say that I gave Joe's mum enough money to afford a caravan she told me she'd been saving up for. That felt pretty good.
Goodness.
We'd also do a fundraiser for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, who were integral for searching for Joe during that time, and we raised a pretty good amount of money too. Being able to give back in whatever small way I could felt good, and it felt right for all the years Joe had made us all laugh till it hurt. He was a solid person, just a little lost, as we all are sometimes. And I miss him. Life was about to take an even more unusual turn, and I was about to meet the first angel of this story. So stay tuned for that. It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside the trunk, inside the pickup truck, then dumped that whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as hell. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Justin, Sega, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. Distance is my plaster cast to tell the truth. The day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find the anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying. And holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I can find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you, absurd, fuck.
Oh my God.
Another domino, it falls. Across the way another's born. How you're supposed to raise a child and give it courage from a storm. In a world that is confusing, contradictions pave our flaws. Some will say we're only human, others judge us for our flaws. Some get born in sheets of satin, some get by in tattered clothes. Some will die before they live, that's just how the story goes. But for those of us still with us, who reside inside our hearts, tell them proudly how you feel. And for those of us who aren't, freckled angels stand strong, freckled angels live on, freckled angels climb higher, freckled angels still inspire, freckled angels won't forget you, teach me to live my life better. 13 years and still I miss you, now my wings are missing feather. Otherwise I'd come and join you, but for now I'm here on earth, stuck inside this mortal body. But for everything it's worth, made me braver, made me wiser, made me stronger, made me true, made me face the world with courage, and that's all because of you.
Golly.
Freckled angels laugh the hardest, and their hearts, they are the largest. With their wings they fly the farthest, so I know you're gonna be okay. Freckled angels live the longest, and their minds, they are the strongest. Oh, their friends, they are the fondest, so I know you're gonna be okay.
I'm at a loss for words. What? This is what? You all were telling me to check these chapters out. And you mentioned the songs at the end. You didn't tell me that I was going to watch a docuseries with a masterful live performance to jumpstart us here, everybody. Again, I'm trying to compute in my head what this journey is all about. And it's not something that the brain can, or that my brain can compute right now. It's just something that I feel deeply in every fiber of my being, in my soul. I have so many thoughts. I feel stuck because what Ren is doing here is so painful and relatable and resonant. Like, he's such a good person, and he's so incredibly talented to be able to turn his pain into a companion. His music is a companion for millions of you out there, and for myself right now, because all I can think about is people I've lost in my life, and I'm sure you all feel the same after listening to this song for his friend Joe. R.I.P. to Joe. Ren is the type of friend that we all could only wish for on planet Earth. Ren is a stand-up dude. Like, it's deeper than music for this guy. I know that's cliche. I've already said it multiple times, but this goes far deeper. I had no idea about his encounter with suicide, the suicide of his friend. And he was 1 minute late, and they never found Joe's body. And as he said, it's truly difficult to move on when you can't say goodbye. That's it right there. I don't at all mean to make this about me. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm feeling right now. And if it helps any of you out there, then great. Please let me know if you also have a similar experience. I relate 100% to that statement. You can't move on, truly, if you don't say goodbye. My mom died when I was 18 years old. She overdosed on prescription pain medication. She had a whole bunch of different pills in her body, a little bit of alcohol. And she died completely unexpectedly. I had no idea. I was 18. I was in college. I went to a college about 20 minutes down the road from where we lived. And it was February. It was a winter night. I was getting ready to go to a pub on campus, a date actually, with my girlfriend, the girl I'm still with to this day. A girl who I didn't know back then. That was our first date. And I get a call, and it's my dad, and he says, "Jordan, your mother got rushed to the hospital. I need y'all to come right away." And my twin brother and I, we shared a dorm together. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "No, I'm not going anywhere. Like, this has happened before, right? Like, she's fallen asleep because she took too many pills. She drank too much. It's probably just nothing, right? Like, she got rushed to the hospital. Is she awake? Just let me know how she does." And he says, "Jordan, I need y'all to come." He wouldn't tell me anything. So, I hang up the phone. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "No, what's going on? What's going on?" And after about 10 minutes, I finally get him back on the phone, and I finally get him to tell me what's going on. And I'll never forget these words. He says, "Jordan, your mother passed away." And my world completely fell to the ground. I lost everything. everything changed at that point. And it didn't feel real. It felt like an out-of-body experience. Like, those words are not words I should ever hear. Your mother passed away. They don't even make sense. I would just talk to her this morning. What are you talking about? So when Ren is talking about not being able to say goodbye, I didn't get to say goodbye to my mom and never will. So I never truly do feel like I can move on. I've been able to cope, but that was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. And my family, like my little brothers and sisters, my little sister was 8 years old. My little brother was 9 years old. My other little brother was 14. My twin brother and I were 18. It just completely shattered us, man. And I actually wrote a song titled Say Goodbye that I will be sharing with all of you at some point. But I have another verse in a song that's called Temporary Drugs, because I'm very passionate about what Ren is talking about, man. I have a song called Temporary Drugs. I'll give you the beginning of it, and then I'll get back to dissecting this. I'm sorry for going on this tangent, everybody. The beginning of this song, I wrote this song like 6 years ago. It starts, Mama died. Was it suicide? Popped too many pills, yes, she went and self-euthanized. So much time spent trying not to self-scrutinize. You'll do some crazy shit sitting with yourself unsupervised in a cold house, no heat, in the middle of February. No car to drive, no food to eat. I'd imagine it's pretty scary. No job to do, you unemployed. You pop a few to fill the void. In an hour or two, you'll need some more because every high is temporary. And when I wrote that, the relief that I felt to finally get my pain on paper and record my pain and listen back to it in a verse that I could like bop my head to, it was healing beyond belief. And as Ren said in many other videos, it justified my pain when I would share it with my brother and he'd be like, oh yeah. So what Ren is doing here in writing a song for his friend Joe is healing. And he said he handed it to the family. He shared it with the family. This right here is a gift that will always be there if you need to listen and process some things. Like, in the level of artistry here is unreal. And he's playing the piano. When I thought the song was going to stop, it didn't. He extended it. Like, this dude is different, man. This dude is different. This is utterly beautiful. Utterly beautiful. So he brought us through a bit of his story, right? He talked about how it's been an 8-year-long nightmare. He used the term inescapable bind. He talked about his friend Joe, Sager, Ella, Ricky, Miles. My respect for this man has skyrocketed beyond belief. There was one quote around the 6-minute mark where he talked about the feeling of being able to still think and feeling like he was like an outsider viewing himself, but feeling stuck. I want to replay that quote real quick. He says, my brain was full of fog and my body felt poisoned.
And my body felt poisoned. There were
intermittent days where I felt like a hollow suit of skin.
It's where I felt like a hollow suit of skin. I'd sit in lectures unable to focus and was devoid of any sort of personality. I'd be able to have basic conversations, yeses and nos, but I was stripped of the ability to think spontaneously. It's like my body was taking up so much processing power being sick that I could not have original or spontaneous thought. Yeah. The most peculiar thing about this was there was a me that was aware that this was all happening.
There was a me that was aware this was all happening.
Observing it from outside of myself.
And observing it from outside of myself.
Locked out, screaming silently, banging.
Locked out, screaming silently, banging on the walls of my mind to be let in. Let that sink in, folks. Inescapable bind. 8-year-long nightmare. That's what he was dealing with.
Walls in my mind to be let in, and never successfully.
And never successfully.
And nonetheless, there I was, like a ghost haunting myself.
Like a ghost haunting myself. I mean, this man came prepared with a statement. He had visuals. He told the story, chapter 1. He brought us through his pain and his experiences with death, the death of one of his best friends. And at the very end, he mentioned how an angel intervened. And to stay tuned. So I'm assuming in chapter 2, we might hear more about this angel.
And I was about to meet the first Life was about to take an even more unusual turn, and I was about to meet the first angel of this story. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, we're staying tuned, all right. I am sat until the very end, and I hope you are as well. I'll see you for chapter 2. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I really didn't expect it to get this deep. I know you all warned me, but this was a high quality production. And when I was thinking of chapters, I thought, okay, it's just going to be like, Ren talking in an interview and just piecing the story together. Ren moves different out here. So stay tuned. Let me know what in chapter 1 resonated with you most. Was it the misdiagnosis? Was it what Ren just said here? Was it Ren feeling the raw pain of losing his friend Joe? Have you lost someone in your life? How do you move on? How do you try to cope and deal with the death of someone that you can't say goodbye to? Let me know, everybody. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you for chapter 2. Bye-bye.